Hello everyone. So today we will be starting with a new unit which is ICT in statistics. So in this we will cover LO1, which is to understand how to manage statistical data. In this session we will cover the issues that may arise in managing data, then the legal requirements relating to data processing and the implications for businesses. Then we will also look into the different software solutions for managing data, and as an advanced method, we will be comparing different software solutions for managing data. And finally, we will also assess the risks of non-compliance with data protection regulation. So first, let us start with the key terminologies. So in this, the first terminology is data sourcing. So students should be adept at identifying and accessing diverse sources of data. For example, in statistics, if you're doing secondary research, you should understand like where the data will come. It could be like statistical websites, it could be like books, it could be trade reports, it could be market research reports. So you should, or it could be government publications or the statistics that is prepared at government websites. So all these are data sourcing. It refers to sourcing the data from the different sources. Then you have data extraction and cleaning. So the collected data often requires pre-processing to ensure accuracy and relevance. So this requires data cleaning before it is analyzed or processed in the further flow. So you can have data cleaning tasks such as transformation and normalization of data. Then you have data storage. So data storage, it refers to like storing the data, whether you're storing it in a local computer, whether you're storing it in a cloud, whether you're storing it in a private server, whether you're storing it a hybrid cloud server. So there are different uh, places where you can store the data. So the students should also remember about efficient methods of data storage, often which involves databases or cloud-based solutions, which are vital to manage the collected data sets effectively. For example, when you use Gmail, so all your mails are stored on the cloud server of Google. So then you have data retrieval. So students should gain proficiency in retrieving specific data subsets for analysis or reporting purposes. So like data sourcing, data retrieval should be understood by the students. For example, some of the data, it may be access protected or you may have to pay for the data. So you must understand like what type of data you need, and then accordingly data retrieval should be done. Then data analysis tools. So the data, there are various statistical tools of data analysis which students should use. Some of these are R, Python, or statistical packages like SPSS. So you can go through YouTube videos, you can go through previous sessions to understand how you can carry out statistical analysis. Then we have statistical techniques. So this unit could cover a range of statistical techniques from descriptive statistics to inferential statistics. So it includes hypothesis testing, regression analysis, multivariate analysis, partial regression or correlation. So these are the different statistical techniques which are used for hypothesis testing. Then you have visualization. So effective data visualization tools like Tableau, they can be introduced to enable students to present their findings clearly. And then interpretation. The unit should emphasize the ability to draw meaningful conclusions from the analyzed data. So interpretation of data is equally important so that you can present meaningful results. So now we look into the different learning objectives. So the first one is outlining the issues that may arise in managing data. So managing data is a critical always challenges which are associated with managing data. So some of the primary issues that arise in managing data include managing large data sets. So one of the foremost challenges is dealing with large data sets. So as data volume grows exponentially, it becomes increasingly difficult to store, process, and retrieve data efficiently. So the second aspect is cleaning of data. So data collected from different various sources may often contain errors. So and missing values or inconsistency. So data cleaning is a time-consuming process required to ensure data accuracy and reliability. Then another issue is with respect to data security. So protecting data from different cyber attacks can pose serious challenges for any organization. So unauthorized data access, breaches, or cyber attacks is a critical concern for the different organizations. So ensuring data security through encryption, access controls, and secure storage methods is essential. Then we have data integrity. So maintaining data integrity is very crucial. It ensures that the data remains accurate and unaltered during storage and transmission. For example, if your healthcare data is stored somewhere, you would want your data integrity is a critical factor so that your data related to the health records are not altered. So techniques like checksums and data validation are employed to maintain data integrity. So next we look into the legal requirements related to data processing and the implications for businesses. So legal requirements, so the use and processing of data, different regions or different countries may have different laws with respect to data collection, data processing, data storage. So businesses must adhere to the local laws in which it is operating. So some of the key legal requirements is one of them is GDPR, which is to be complied with when a company has any operations in Europe. So the GDPR is a comprehensive data protection regulation that applies to the processing of personal data within the European Union. So it imposes several legal requirements on businesses. Then lawful processing. So in GDPR, businesses must have lawful basis for processing personal data such as consent, contract performance, or legitimate interests. Then under GDPR itself, you have data subject rights. So individuals have the rights under the GDPR, including the right to access their data, rectify inaccuracies, and request ensure the right to be forgotten. Like, for example, if a user comes to website only one time and he does not visit the website after that, so the data provision should be such that erasure of data, which is right to be forgotten, is enforced. So businesses must facilitate these rights. Then you have data protection impact assessments. So in certain cases, businesses are required to connect assessments to assess and mitigate risks to individuals' data privacy. So then you have data breach notification. So businesses must report data breaches to the relevant authorities and affected individuals within specific time frames. Then you have the next aspect is cross-border data transfers. So transferring personal data outside the EU is subject to strict conditions under GDPR. So some of these clauses include standard contractual clauses or binding corporate rules. So non-compliance with GDPR can often result in significant fines, which can be up to 20 million euros or 4% of the company's global annual revenue, whichever is higher. So then we have the Data Protection Act. So this is applicable in UK. So in the UK, the Data Protection Act complements the GDPR and provides additional regulations and requirements specific to the country. So it includes provisions related to processing of personal data for research and statistical purposes. So the implication for businesses for use of these legal, statutory requirements is that businesses, they have high business, it can result in high compliance costs for businesses. So businesses must allocate resources to ensure compliance with data protection laws, which may include hiring protection officers and implementing data protection measures. So there is also a reputational risk, which means failing to comply with the data protection can often lead to cyber attacks and many servers going down, which may damage the company's reputation and leading to a loss of customer trust and loyalty. Then there are also financial punishments, like we have seen 20 million euros for not complying or up to 4% of the company's annual revenue. So the financial penalties can result in substantial fines that may have a significant financial impact on business. And then you have the data-driven opportunity. So complying with data protection laws can also offer opportunities, as businesses that handle data responsibly can build trust with customers and use data effectively for decision-making and marketing. So next we look into describe different software solutions for managing data. So in this, we look into the different software solutions which are used for managing data. So first one is most common in all organizations is the spreadsheets. So spreadsheets like Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets are versatile tools for managing and analyzing small to medium-sized data sets. So they provide a user-friendly interface for data entry, organization, and basic analysis. So advantage of a spreadsheet is that it is very easy to use and accessibility is there in all organizations. And anyone can learn it very easily and store data on it. Spreadsheets also offer support for data visualization and basic calculations. So these are commonly used for in business and academic settings. Then we have RDBMS. So relational database so this is the most simple type of database management system. So RDBMS softwares are there, which is MySQL, PostgreSQL, and Microsoft SQL Server, which are designed to manage structured data. So, for example, Microsoft SQL Server comes with a standard Microsoft Office package if you have an advanced package. So they use tables with predefined schemas to store data, making them suitable for large and complex data sets. So here, what you need to know is that you need to write the queries in SQL, which is structured query language. So then you will find it easy in working in relational database management system. So the advantages of this type of database management is data integrity through enforced relationships and constraints. Then you have efficient data retrieval using SQL queries. And then you have scalability for handling large data sets. So RDBMS can handle very large data sets, so it becomes easier for a company so that they can do small investments, and with small investment they can manage the large data set. Then you have NoSQL databases. So some of the databases like NoSQL and like MongoDB and Cassandra are designed for managing unstructured and semi-structured data. So they offer flexibility in data modeling and they can also handle large volumes of data. So these type of databases are ideally suited for handling big data and real-time applications. For example, stock market transactions, banking transactions, and there is support for distributed data management, and all of these happens in a real-time environment. Then you have data warehouse solutions. So data warehouse solutions such as Amazon Redshift and Google BigQuery, they are used for storing and managing large volumes of historical data. So they are optimized for analytical queries and reporting. So data warehouse solution is like you have the raw data, then you cleanse the data, you do the transformation of data, and then you do the normalization of data, and then you present the data in a like more structured format, or maybe more with more visualization. So data warehouse solutions, they have high performance query for business intelligence, for like they present data for the end user. Then you have integration with data analytics and visualization tools. And finally, centralized data storage for historical analysis. Then you have data integration platforms. So data integration platforms like Apache, NiFi, and Talent facilitate the extraction, transformation, and loading, which is ETL, of data from various sources into a centralized repository. So you can have one data from social media platform, you can have one data from say Excel, you can have one data from API, application programming interface, and another source of data could be video. So it collects all forms of data, and it extracts, transforms, and loads into a centralized repository. So the advantage is that it automates data extraction and transformation processes, and there is support for data cleansing and enrichment. So next, we look into more deeper into compare different software solutions for managing data. So data management is a critical function for organizations, and selecting the right software solution is essential. So now we look into the comparison between different database management systems. So spreadsheets versus relational database management system. So one of the features is user-friendly interface for spreadsheets. You have a user-friendly interface for data entry and manipulation. It supports basic calculations and data visualizations, and it is suitable for small and medium-sized data sets. So ideally, spreadsheets are used for simple data tracking and analysis in small projects or academic research. So in RDBMS, like MySQL, Microsoft SQL, and PostgreSQL, you have structured data storage with predefined schemas. Then you have data integrity through constraints and relationships, and then efficient data retrieval using SQL queries. So in terms of suitability, so it is much more handy than ordinary Excel spreadsheet database. So RDBMS, they are best for handling large and complex data sets with a focus on data integrity and scalability. Then you have NoSQL databases versus data warehouse solution. So in NoSQL databases, you have flexible data modeling, where you can use both structured and semi-structured data. Then you have scalability and support for distributed data management. and this is suited for big data and real-time application. So again, there's a NoSQL database, like we had given some examples earlier. It is ideal for applications requiring flexibility in data storage and rapid scalability. So again, in cloud, this is used where you can like customize. You will not pay for a large infrastructure storage, but you can go for pay per use, and it is quick. It is very flexible in data storage and scalability. So for the next data warehouse solutions, these are designed for storing and managing large volumes of historical data. So data warehouse, it also facilitates ETL, which means extraction, transformation, and loading, and visualization and presentation to the end users. So this is best suited for organizations needing centralized data storage for historical analysis as well as future predictions using business intelligence. So then we have the data integration platforms versus custom solutions. So in data integration platforms, for example, you have Apache, you have Talent, you have so these two are there. So these features, they automate they automate ETL process actually, which is data extraction, transformation, and loading. And they also support in cleaning and enrichment and real-time data integration. And suitability, so these are ideal for organizations with complex data integration needs, such as combining data from multiple sources. So in conclusion, selecting the appropriate data management software is very essential. For example, if your organization has only like up to 20-25 employees, you can afford to manage data with your spreadsheet. But if you have, say, organization which has 100 employees, so you need to have a larger database. So RDBMS can do. You need not invest in high physical infrastructure or databases. But if you have to manage something like a government platform which is handling billions of transactions, then you can use NoSQL databases, which are flexible and scalable, wherein and they also use data warehouse for presenting business intelligence. So generally, the choice should align based on the organizational requirements. So next we look into the risks of non-compliance with data protection regulation. So data protection regulations such as GDPR, they are designed for protecting customers' interests, and generally they impose very strict penalties for organizations which are not complying with these regulations. So some of the risks include, the first one is the legal and financial risks. So in this, organizations can face monetary penalties. For example, under GDPR, the fines can be high as 20 million euros or 4% of the company's global annual revenue. Remember, it is not the subsidiary's revenue, it is the global annual revenue, whichever is higher. Then you have the reputational damage. So data breaches and cyber attacks or non-compliance with regulatory standards can also result in damaging the organizational reputation. So when the regulatory body, they start an investigation on the organization, then it may look very bad and there can be reputational damage for the company. Then you have operational disruption and remediation costs. So when there is non-compliance to the data protection rules, then investigations and data breaches can disrupt normal business operations. So organizations can incur heavy cost in remedial measures and cyber security enhancements and legal consultations. So non-compliance can also result in operational disruption and remediation costs. Then we have loss of competitive advantage. So in the organizations which do not invest significantly for complying with the data protection standards, they may lose customers' trust and therefore the competitive advantage. So it may result in missed business opportunities. So then again, you have erosion of customer trust. So customer may lose trust in organizations in ability to protect the data, leading to decreased customer loyalty. Then you have data subject rights. So data subjects have rights under data protection regulations. So non-compliance can infringe upon these rights, resulting in dissatisfaction and complaints. Then you have the issue of cross-border limitation. For example, if any company which is based in Europe and following GDPR, it cannot easily transfer data to, for example, its Asian subsidiary. So non-compliance can restrict an organizational ability to transfer data outside the EU and which can potentially hinder international operations. So then you have reputational impact on leadership. So executives and leadership may face personal accountability for non-compliance, which may again look bad for the company. So in conclusion, the risks of non-compliance with data protection regulations, they extend beyond legal and financial consequences. So they encompass reputational damage, operational disruption, and erosion of trust. So to mitigate these risks, organizations must prioritize data protection, implement robust compliance measures, and stay informed about evolving regulatory requirements. So in essence, it is essential for organizations to comply with the data protection standards, which is for their own benefit so that they have sophisticated cybersecurity measures and their business is not impacted. So that is all for today. In case if you have any questions, you can let me know.